Welcome back, guys. Episode 7 of the Cruiser. We're really starting to tick along with this project now. 7 episodes is probably a bit more than we ever actually expected to do. It's blown way out of hand, this build, but we appreciate everyone that's keeping up. This episode, unfortunately, I've got to go again, but Rex is going to take you through head porting and assembling the heads ready for the complete engine assembly. We've got new valve stem seals, a few other new goodies, so thanks for watching. I'll probably pop up later on the episode.
So it's just after 11:30 on a Sunday night. Still out here trying to get more of this engine together. As you can see, most of the bottom end is together. We've moved on to doing the top end now. So the heads have been dismantled, the valves out, and we have done started on the port work, so I've done one of the heads. I'll show you a bit more of that tomorrow when I do the other one. At the moment what we're doing is the trunnion upgrade on the rockers. So as you can see, these are the standard ones that I've already pressed out of the rocker arms. And you can even see there's some of these ones that have fallen apart. So they are a needle roller trunnion, which is why they're not so great under heavy loads. Those needle bearings have been known to fail. So the upgraded ones, which you can see I've done these ones here. What they are is just a solid bushing and a much heavier trunnion arm. So just generally a lot stronger and a lot more reliable, and you won't end up with needles all through your motor, which has been known to happen when they fail. It can be a similar problem with roller lifters actually, because they are a similar design. They're a needle roller bearing, and so yeah, you need good quality gear. So yeah, I'm halfway. It's just a very tedious and repetitive process. We'll get the other half done. So we talked last night about the head porting. I'll just show you exactly what we're talking about. So if you have a look there in your standard intake port, you can see it's got a swirl ramp there on the left. So what we do, as you can see I've done this port, you basically take out that swirl ramp. And the idea is just to narrow the guide in this area here. And what you want to do is create like a bit of a bullet shape, basically a nice curve for the air to just work around that valve stem. This is only very, very basic, and it's probably as far as I'm going to bother going with these heads. Another really good area too is it's too hard to see on the camera, but just inside the intake port, down in there on the right, is actually where one of the rocker studs comes through. You can take out that lump as well, and a lot of people would generally narrow these guides up a lot more than I have here. If it was a naturally aspirated engine, I'd probably do the same and go a lot further with the porting, but because ours is going to be boosted, it's just not really worth me spending the time on it to do it, because this is quite a time consuming process. And that's your most basic of head porting techniques. So, Monday afternoon, we've got a lovely storm coming in. We've gone as far as we can on assembling the heads, but we now need to wait for new valve stem seals because I realised I hadn't replaced them, and it's just not worth going to all this trouble to put together this brand new engine with brand new everything except valve stem seals and then have it blowing smoke and looking like a piece of junk. So we're going to wait the extra few days, as frustrating as it is, because I really wanted it back together. We moved on to doing the rocker covers, because part of the reason we relocated the coils was to get them away from the heat, and then you're left with a couple of options as far as your rocker covers go. You can splash out by aftermarket ones that look a lot neater, but we're tight asses, so as you've probably realised by now. So what we're actually doing is, with the coil mounts gone, we've actually cut off all of the mounts and ground them back and rubbed it back with some 240 to make it nice and smooth, ready for paint. As you can see, it makes a massive difference and they look just a lot tidier. So once they're in the car and painted up nice and black, they'll look absolutely great, and it cost us $0 to do it. So, you know, we're ahead the $250, $300 that you'll pay for aftermarket rocker covers, and these look much, much nicer than the factory ones with the coil mounts still sticking out everywhere. So there you have it. So I've cleaned up the engine bay, hit it with some Prepsol, given it a bit of a scrub up, ready for paint. We've already done the black, the chassis and booster and stuff like that. I wasn't originally going to go to this much effort, but the pipes came up that shiny, the engine's going to be nice and black, so figured we'd put some effort into the engine bay. I've had to remove all of the wiring. It's a pretty big job, pulled all the front end apart. See our coolers up in the corner there where they've been mounted. Old boy's just mixing up some paint now, and we'll get some nice white paint on it. Alright, we've got the first coat on. And that's the difference it makes. Have a look at that. So that will really just make the whole engine, the whole combination pop when you open the bonnet. But from the outside, she'll still be the same old rusty Landcruiser. There's not too much rust in it. It just looks a bit patinaed. But yeah, you can imagine with the gloss black engine and those really shiny ceramic pipes with a nice fresh engine bay, when you open the bonnet it should look pretty good. So it was a lot of effort, there's a lot of work that went into it. It's taken us quite a while, but it's worth it for the result. So we suffered a temporary setback with putting the motor together. The gasket set didn't come with new valve stem seals, so had to order a set. It only took 2 days to arrive, luckily. So now we've got our heads together, our nice new valve stem seals, and we are ready to put the heads on the motor and keep going with the assembly. Nice clean head and deck surfaces. We are ready to go. See the lifters and lifter buckets are already in.
It's all good. Get it together. Okay, so a bit of an update. We've made some progress this week. We managed to get the old insulation mat out. Got the new insulation mat in. We've actually run the new battery cables, which run back to where the new battery is going to be, way back in the back of the car. We've got the motor together. Today I got the sump welded up with its new bungs for the turbo drains, and it's about, what is the time now? It's about 12:30 on a Thursday night, and we've managed to get the motor assembled. I've spent it's taken about 5 hours to get the engine just masked up, ready for painting. So here you go. As promised, it is very black. It's hard to see in this light. You may notice we've got the heat lamp and the actual heater going just to try and keep the cold off it and stop the paint from blooming. Seems to be working so far. Yeah, we're pushing to try and get the motor in as soon as possible. I did dummy up the engine earlier with the turbo setup and stuff like that. I've got a couple of photos of it, but I didn't get any footage. I'm going to do it again in the morning with the new paint scheme, and we'll have a look what it looks like, but I have a feeling it's going to look pretty badass. And the all black engine looks evil. As you can see, I just used the old manifolds and the old gaskets just as a block off for the old for the heads there, just to stop it from painting that. The rest of it's all just masking tape and cardboard. It's pretty basic. You just got to block up any holes that go inside the motor, because you don't want paint in there, as should be pretty obvious. And there you go. You can see that our smoothly painted rocker covers have come up really nice, and they're going to look great in the engine bay. So we'll check back in tomorrow, and we'll get a bit of a walk around with all the turbo gear on it. It looks pretty good.